Good morning, crypto questions, answers, news. And welcome to the Market Minute on June 22nd, January. It feels like January to me here in Toronto. It's a little bit cold. Good morning, Curtis. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm kind of wishing it was January.
This.
We were headed up.
Yeah, definitely. And while January might not be too far away. So there might have been some type of Freudian slip here. So this morning on our segment, we're actually going to cover, is this the bear market? Is this the beginning of the end or the end of the beginning? We'll talk about the Bitcoin hash rate. EIP1559, if you're not aware, is the change coming up in the Ethereum network protocol, what it means. And what does the summer of 2021 have in store for us in the cryptocurrency world? So bear market, it's really red, really red this morning. We've been watching Ethereum, and we've been watching Bitcoin bleed a little bit throughout the weekend. And this morning, there's some really long red candles. So what's your feel? What's your read on this? Are we in a bear market now?
Well, I keep calling it the mini bear.
Yeah.
I think, well, yeah, I mean, for the most part, it's been red. It's been red for a little bit. We haven't necessarily been in the red for longer than a month and a half. And as with any market goes, you're not going to consistently go up forever. So having a red candle month, maybe 2 consecutive red candle months, I don't really think is a terrible thing for the market. It gives some of us the ability to accumulate more. And, yesterday I put more Ethereum in my pocket. It may go down a little bit more, but I think that the long-term outlook for Ethereum is pretty amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree completely. This is in my opinion, if you look at the overall model, this seems like the bear trap.
Mm-hmm.
Right. We're in a bull market. I think we're mid-cycle or thereabouts. And this is that bear trap dip, that market correction. And I agree completely that this is a really great market correction opportunity for more accumulation. Get more. And I think that it's get more Bitcoin, get more Ethereum into your portfolios, because the red on the altcoins is going to be pretty harsh, I think, for the short while Bitcoin regains its dominance.
Yeah, and I also think that, and I've talked about this a lot. I know a lot of people are into the meme coins, and there has to be a connection between these digital assets and actual things, right? They have to either be backed by something or action or store some kind of value, have a network with participants. The idea of creating an asset just to exist, those coins are going to fall to the wayside quick and hard. You're going to see lots of companies disappear. We saw the same thing happen, after 2018. The good news is there are still projects out there that are really good and connected to the real world. One that I ran into yesterday, I talked to you about, Jeff, is Dero, and occasionally you'll find these projects where people discover them, and even though the entire market is red, everybody will kind of migrate to one particular project, and there's a good opportunity that if you find that early, that you can still potentially make a decent profit.
Yeah, I think that's great, and that's, I've been going to CoinMarketCap and CoinGecko, and I've been looking at the gainers and the losers, and there's a lot of them. It was interesting. It's got a very bearish feeling about it, and I kind of felt like I got the wind knocked out of my sails on May 18th. Because I thought I had some life-changing gains, and you watch them get swatted away by the bears, and so now we're at a point where it's like, okay, let's pay attention to what's going on. What did we learn? And that's kind of what took me in deep into the study of the Wyckoff model. and understanding the accumulation model. So we'll talk a little bit more about that as we wrap up to the end. So the Bitcoin hash rate, it's falling. Oh my God, what does that mean? Is it the end of the world for Bitcoin? Is Bitcoin going away? Are we going to go down to $0?
Oh, no way. No, but it is down 29.6%. So, but it, Bitcoin is a resilient asset class in itself. And, that just means that it's harder to mine a block and it takes more time. But I think even more importantly, and, to go along with, of course, Wyckoff and the market manipulation, I think you kind of have additional things at play here that are affecting the price negatively, helping drive the price down. And the whole China banning Bitcoin mining, telling banks to get away from these private currencies, it's forcing miners out of China. So what happens with those companies? Well, those companies sell Bitcoin to exist. So if you tell that company, hey, you can't exist here, and they have to go somewhere else, well, what are they going to do? They're going to sell Bitcoin to cover their expenses. Usually these companies sell to over-the-counter investors on a supply and demand basis. Well, this causes a supply shock, right? So even if they don't have enough over-the-counter investors to sell to, they're probably flooding the exchanges and selling it anywhere they can. So I do think that has given the market some additional selling pressure. And I think that's what you're seeing over the last couple of days.
Yeah, absolutely. With the drop in hash rate. So let's talk a little bit what hash rate is for our new folks out there and our non-technical folks. So hash rate is the computing power that is available in the network to actually do the cryptography, the calculation, the verification, and the validation. So I want to use a very good analogy, right? So if you've ever been to Los Angeles or Toronto or Chicago, and you've driven on the the turnpike or the freeway during rush hour, you can see how that, when we take away the hash power, we're taking away lanes available for traffic. So things just slow down a little bit, right? Mm-hmm. So when we have more lanes available, traffic flows faster, right? That's why we go on the turnpike instead of, and we pay for the tolls so that we can move along faster. And so we can kind of think about this as the hash rate is putting more lanes in. So in Toronto, we've got our 401 highway that goes across the center north of the city. And during rush hour, it just crawls, right? But if you go through there at, 3 a.m. in the morning, you can fly, right? Mm-hmm. But so you got that. The number of lanes is fixed. So it's like when we take out 18% of the miners, we drop down the number of lanes. So it's like, think about it as we're in construction season right now for Bitcoin. Also, what happens is when the hash rate drops a little bit, the competition drops a little bit. So we may not see necessarily the longer block time, provided that we still have enough lanes, enough Bitcoin miners to actually process those transactions. So I think that kind of gives you an idea. I didn't want to go into the too technical aspect of the hash rate, but that should give you an idea so you can look at this and say, oh, more lanes, less lanes, faster traffic, slower traffic.
Yeah, and I think overall, that this whole thing, and I said this the last time that we talked, the whole idea between Bitcoin and cryptocurrency is decentralization, and China for the longest time has dominated the Bitcoin mining market and has used that leverage, to their advantage. And now that it's becoming illegal there, it's forced to spread to the areas where, energy is the cheapest. And, a lot of that is in the United States. So the other thing is, if there is a artificial supply shock because of this, and the markets are being flooded with Bitcoin, and there's also a little less Bitcoin being mined at the same time, we're going to have the opposite problem in about 30 to 90 days. So
yeah, we're definitely, so we're in, it's like, this is economics, right? We're in high supply, low demand.
yep.
The fear index is 10. So a lot of people are sitting on their hands right now.
Mm-hmm.
So we got sellers coming in. We have more coin than we have buyers, so the price is going to go down. Because
Right.
I'm motivated as a seller. If I'm one of these Chinese Bitcoin miners, cryptocurrency miners, and I need to move, I'm going to take what I can get so that I can have the funds available, and I'm going to sell hard, and I'm going to sell now. So I think that's definitely a good point. We've got this whole North America, South America, clean energy, right? So you take a look at what El Salvador is doing, tapping into the geothermal of the volcano. You've got, in Texas, you have solar farms. We have the same thing in Canada. We have hydro, we have solar farms, and we also have nuclear power in Ontario, right? So we've got some really good clean energy opportunities here. So let's see what happens. I know Quebec was saying that, they're basically pretty much 100% of their power is hydro developed, right? They're right in the midst of that Canadian shield. So lots of good clean energy opportunities in North America. Let's flip and let's talk about Ethereum, right? What's interesting is Charles Hoskins says Ethereum is showing a higher value opportunity than Bitcoin, right? And I think it's more on the utility side. So EIP 1559, what is it and why should I care?
Yeah. So, recently, there was a fork that allowed for Ethereum to lower their transaction fees a little bit. If you use Ethereum, you've probably seen it. It allows for something called roll-ups, which allows multiple transactions at the same time. And I believe that one was called that was the Berlin fork, I believe.
Yes. Yeah.
The most recent one that's coming up is EIP 1559, and I think they've dubbed that as the London hard fork.
Mm-hmm.
And what that does is it actually creates a scenario where the Ethereum gas that's used as the transaction fee gets burned and disappears from the network. So you're going to have, instead of a increasing or a fixed supply asset, you're going to have one that is going to dwindle in supply. So yeah, I think that this is really good for Ethereum. I think that and that happens on July 7th. So it's coming up, and I do expect, despite the market, that because of the upcoming EIP 1559, that you're going to see some steady climb in the price, I hope. Now, as we were talking earlier, we do believe that there is room to go lower in the very near future, but I think there's going to be a nice build up to 1559. I think if it's implemented properly, I think that you will continue to see increased value in the Ethereum network through supply shock or steadily dwindling supply. Yeah. So what are your thoughts on that, Jeff?
Yeah, I think the EIP 1559 there's a number of security fixes. It's actually going to make the Ethereum network more secure. So the Bitcoin maximalists, who are pointing out some of the limitations of security of Ethereum, I think some of it will be partially addressed in the 1559. I think with the roll-ups, with the fee burning, and also with the implementation of these layer 2 or side chain, Polygon Matic, we've got Zilliqua, we've got Immutable, we've got a number of lanes for traffic processing. I think Ethereum is definitely looking on a massive upside for the summer of 2021. Mind you, in the short term, we're going to see some more red. That's kind of what I'm predicting.
Agreed. Another thing that 1559 does that people might not be aware of is it changes the structure in which blocks are mined. So it's kind of a race to the bottom. So the transaction that is processed, the fees are adjusted so that the lowest bid for the block is what the user is charged. So that's good for the fees, right? So and I've always had this theory that Ethereum has purposely modeled itself this way to allow some of these larger companies that have cash and that aren't fly by nights to build, and then as the network becomes mature, the fees go down for general public use. And you'll see the opposite on stuff like Binance Smart Chain, where it's super easy, super cheap to release a coin. So you have all these crazy meme coin projects that have been taking off. But at the end of the day, Ethereum's been through that. They did that. They saw what happened. And, I think they adjusted accordingly. And now I think that you have companies that have popped up to take advantage of those high fees. But it's kind of a double-edged sword. They've gotten all the scam projects. So,
yeah, I think with, as we see Cardano readying to launch their network, we see, Polkadot with their network. And, so we see a lot of these, higher transaction rate, lower fees, perhaps a little more centralized. So we're definitely going to see some interesting stuff, and that these flight by night projects popping up and doing what appears to be quote unquote a rug pull. Yeah. So if it's cheaper fees, it makes it easier to do that. So, EIP1559, all the good things that are happening in Ethereum, I think when Charles Hoskins tips his hat, against what is quote unquote his largest competitor and says that they're going to outperform Bitcoin, I thought, wow, that's pretty honest of him, right? And will the flipping happening? Who knows, right? I'm not calling it yet.
I'm calling it. It. I'm not calling it in the short term. But, even Taproot and giving Bitcoin the ability to have that utility, and you can pretty much come up with this from the other projects. It's not as easy as just, okay, now we can create smart contracts. There's a whole layer of technology and code that has to be built on top of, and support for the developers. And it's not as simple as flipping a switch. Ethereum has been built out for years, and there's a ton of utility happening on Ethereum. It's where a majority of the developers are, and DeFi. So I mean, is there ability for other companies to pull some market share from Ethereum? Absolutely. But I do think that Ethereum will grow faster than the Ethereum wannabes.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that, the big thing to think about Ethereum is Ethereum with its proof of work model, while it may not be as efficient as people would like to see, it is secure. And with the moves in the EIP 1559, we'll see an increased security model, increased adoption. And, we're still like, what do we, it's like the market capitalization for the entire cryptocurrency market has just taken a bloodbath, So we need to go up 10 or 20 times. We need to get in that, 10 trillion, 20 trillion, $30 trillion market capitalization for the overall market. So I really like less than 1% of money that's available for the markets is in. I think that we're going to see more adoption when we get through this bear trap, and we start, this is the spring on the Wyckoff, that we're going to start seeing that parabolic move on I believe both Bitcoin and Ethereum. I think Bitcoin might lead the charge, as we've seen in January, and Ethereum will be close on its heels. And that new money is going to come into Ethereum. I think that we're going to see a lot more money coming into Ethereum over the summer. which is going to drive the overall market capitalization. So I think the summer of 2021 is Ethereum. I think we're going to see a really strong play on that. I think it's DeFi is going to light up and continue to blow up, regardless whether the market is bearish or slowish, right? So I think we've got some really good things in store. I feel confident that we're going to see some good gains this summer, and we're going to see some green coming back into our we're really going to see some more green coming back into our portfolios. That at least is my intention.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm looking forward to it. But again, if you're in it for the long term and you're not just trying to make a quick buck, and you're in it for the adoption and the potential of what cryptocurrency can do, then you're probably not as upset as some of the others that got into it for monetary reasons only. So
yeah. I did a lot of deep soul searching and reflection to understand what's going on and to align myself more with what's going on in the marketplace, and say, okay, I'm ready. I'm really ready, and I'm excited about what's coming in 2021. And thank you, everyone, for joining us this morning. It's been a pleasure to have you watching us today. So we've got some great comments coming in, and it is a very bloody Tuesday. Good morning to you, and good morning, my friends. Here's the thing: we're a Facebook group. We're cryptocurrency questions, answers, and news, and the intention is to be a non-sponsored and open news channel, outlet, education, and we'd love to have you join us and invite your friends with like-minded individuals. We're really looking to grow the group and have people join us and share more knowledge and information. And so I think that good morning, Sarasa. So thank you for joining us. The end, it's just the beginning. We're just in the beginning of this market, I do believe, right? So while it's the end of our live this morning, thank you, and do join us and do invite your friends. We'd love to see our group grow with great like-minded people. So Curtis, is there anything in closing that you'd like to add?
Yeah, I just want to put things into perspective, and I think you talk about zooming out. Everybody talks about, of course, in this market moment, things don't look so good. But look, if you zoom out to the entire picture and you look at when Bitcoin was created and where we are now, it's been an amazing journey. And this little segment of time where everybody's feeling a little down and we're seeing some red, in the grand scheme of things, it's just a blip on the radar. And we've got a long way to go. We've got a lot of adoption to make happen and support, and Bitcoin's not the end all be all. We talked about Ethereum, and Jeff, like I said, I think we should do some different segments maybe on Ethereum Classic, which I think is going to be a big competitor in the future. Yeah. And again, it's not all about just making that money. It's about adoption and what crypto means as a whole to society in general. So
yeah, I think this is exciting. We're very early. We're just a decade in on cryptocurrency as a whole, which means we're really early in. Typically, it's about a 20-year adoption cycle. So it's exciting, and I'm glad to be here. And if you're just joining us in the crypto market, you've come at the right time. You've come at the right time, especially now with this bear dip.
Yep. Yeah. Get it while you can. Get it while it's on sale.
Exactly. All right, folks, you have a great day. We look forward to talking to you again soon. And let's let this red candles play out, and then let's hope it's all green going forward. You have an awesome crypto day. Thank you. Bye.
Have a good one.
Yeah.